Hello, dear members of the Soul Stories family. Today we will bring you a romantic love story, so let's get started. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any meaningful stories. The Plaza Hotel, New York, dazzles under the glow of massive crystal chandeliers. The sound of violins blends with sophisticated laughter, echoing through the grand ballroom. Evening gowns glide by, shimmering like stars, while men in black tuxedos exchange calculated handshakes. This is where the elite gather, where million-dollar deals are sealed over glasses of champagne. Avery Morgan, 28, stands amid the crowd, a glass of red wine glinting in her hand under the light. She just won a major lawsuit, a massive insurance corporation forced to pay millions in compensation to her clients, a working-class family unfairly oppressed. This victory isn't just about money, it's proof of her talent, a sharp-witted defense attorney who never bows to pressure. Tonight, she's here with her two best friends, Claire and Mia, to celebrate. Her form-fitting emerald green dress accentuates her slender figure. Her wavy brown hair cascades loosely, and her brown eyes sparkle with confidence tinged with a hint of mischief. "You look like you just stepped out of a Hollywood movie," Claire teases, raising her glass. "At this rate, you'll be opening your own law firm soon." Avery laughs, shrugging. "One step at a time. Tonight, I just want to finish this drink and forget the pile of paperwork on my desk." She turns, heading toward the bar for another drink, when a slight collision causes her wine glass to tip. The deep red liquid splashes, staining the black tuxedo of a man standing right in front of her. Avery freezes, looks up, and is instantly drawn into a pair of piercing, ice-cold blue eyes. The man is tall, broad-shouldered, with neatly combed dark hair, exuding an aura of authority. He glances at the wine stain on his jacket, then at her, expressionless. The crowd around them murmurs softly, but he stands still, as if the world isn't worth his concern. "Oh, I'm so sorry," Avery says quickly, pulling a tissue from her purse to dab at the stain. "I didn't mean to. I guess I was paying more attention to my drink than where I was going." She flashes a smile, adding a playful jab to lighten the mood. "I hope your jacket isn't more expensive than my lawyer fees." The man raises an eyebrow, his deep, deliberate voice resonating, each word carefully chosen. "You couldn't afford it, counselor." Avery pauses, surprised he responds. She studies him closer. Angular features, thin lips set in a stern line, but his eyes betray a faint glimmer of amusement. "So you know I'm a lawyer?" she asks, tilting her head, a sly smile spreading across her face. "Or are you just guessing to impress me?" He doesn't smile, but the corner of his mouth twitches. "I don't need to guess. You're Avery Morgan, fresh off your win against Atlas Insurance. News travels fast here." Avery raises an eyebrow, impressed but not showing it. "And you?" The mysterious man in the expensive suit with eyes that could freeze a glass of champagne. He doesn't answer immediately, just looks at her, as if weighing whether she's worth revealing his identity to. Finally, he says, "Lucas Thorne." Avery freezes. Lucas Thorne, CEO of Thorne Enterprises, the man behind a billion-dollar tech empire. She's heard of him, cold, ruthless in business, never swayed by emotion. But now, standing before her, he doesn't seem like the machine rumors depict. He's more like a puzzle, enigmatic and captivating. "So I just spilled wine on the most powerful man in the room," Avery says, her tone laced with sarcasm. "Should I be worried or proud?" Lucas tilts his head, his gaze sweeping over her, slow and deliberate, like he's reading a book. "You should be more careful. Not everyone forgives as easily as I do." "Forgive?" Avery scoffs, placing a hand on her hip. "I haven't officially apologized yet, Mr. Thorne, and if you want to sue me over that jacket, I'm ready to face you in court." This time, Lucas's lips curl into a faint smile, brief but enough to make Avery's heart skip a beat. "You're bolder than I expected," he says, his voice lower, almost a whisper. "But I don't sue interesting people like you." Their conversation stretches on, shifting from playful banter to sharp questions about work, life, and impromptu philosophies. Avery doesn't shy away from challenging him, and Lucas responds with arrogant composure. 2 drinks turn into 4, then 6. The air between them grows electric, as if the entire room fades, leaving only the two of them. As the party nears its end, Lucas leans in, whispering in her ear, "Would you like to continue this conversation somewhere quieter?" Avery knows she should say no. She's not the type to be swept away easily. But something about Lucas, his confidence, his burning gaze, his mystery, makes her nod. "Lead the way, Mr. CEO." They leave the party, stepping into the elevator to Lucas's penthouse at the hotel. The moment the doors close, the silence shatters with a kiss. It's not gentle or tentative. It's fierce, passionate, as if both have been holding back too long. Lucas's hands grip her waist, and Avery pulls him closer, all reason forgotten. Clothes fall to the floor, and that night they belong to each other. No names, no strings, just desire and perfect connection. The next morning, sunlight filters through the curtains, illuminating Lucas's chiseled face. He's still asleep, one hand resting on the pillow, looking more peaceful than the cold man from the night before. Avery sits up, her heart in turmoil. She doesn't regret it, but she knows this can't last. A man like Lucas Thorne doesn't belong in her world. She slips back into her dress, grabs a pen from her purse, and scribbles on a piece of paper left on the table. "Thanks for the night. Let's never meet again." She leaves without looking back, but deep down she knows the memory of that night won't fade easily. Fifth Avenue, New York, bustles on a Wednesday afternoon. Yellow taxis weave through luxury cars, sunlight glinting off skyscraper windows. Lucas Thorne sits behind the wheel of his Aston Martin DB11, piercing blue eyes focused on the road ahead. He just left a meeting with Thorne Enterprises shareholders, his mood neither good nor bad. His life revolves around numbers, contracts, and responsibilities. A cycle with no room for moments like that night with the mysterious woman who left a note. "Thanks for the night. Let's never meet again." He still keeps that note for reasons he can't explain. Maybe it's her bold words or the mischievous eyes that made him, a man always in control, feel momentarily unmoored. Lucas shakes his head, telling himself to let it go. But at that moment, a light jolt from behind halts his car. He frowns, checking the rearview mirror. A white Audi has bumped his rear. Not hard, but enough to annoy him. Lucas opens the door and steps out, his tailored gray suit hugging his tall frame. He's ready to reprimand the driver. But when the Audi's door opens, he freezes. The woman stepping out, with lightly curled brown hair and brown eyes sparkling with panic and embarrassment, is none other than the woman from that night at the plaza. Avery Morgan. Avery, in a trench coat and pencil skirt, feels her heart stop when she recognizes the man before her. Lucas Thorne, the man she thought she'd never see again. She just left her law office, heading to a client meeting, and in a moment of distraction, let her car inch forward, lightly tapping the glossy Aston Martin. She curses herself, but seeing Lucas, all her prepared apologies vanish. "Well," Avery speaks first, trying to keep her voice steady despite her racing heart. She tilts her head, flashing a sly smile to mask her unease. "Guess we're not great at keeping that never meet again promise, huh?" Lucas stands still, his gaze sweeping over her, from her slightly tousled hair to her high heels. He doesn't smile, but the corner of his mouth twitches, a small sign he's not entirely angry. "You have a habit of damaging other people's property, Counselor Morgan," he says, his voice low and deliberate. "First my jacket, now my car. I might need to hire a car accident lawyer to sue you." Avery raises an eyebrow, surprised he remembers her name. She crosses her arms, retorting with a sarcastic tone. "A car accident lawyer? Really, Mr. Thorne? For a tiny scratch like that, I think a car painter would suffice. Or do you want me to call insurance right now?" Lucas steps closer, bending to inspect the scratch on his car's rear. He straightens, his eyes locking onto hers. "Insurance? I'm not sure they can compensate for the time I'm wasting here because of a careless driver." Avery scoffs, refusing to back down. "Careless? It was a light tap, and you're still standing here arguing instead of calling traffic police. Are you trying to stretch out this encounter?" Her words make Lucas pause, though his expression remains icy. He tilts his head, a glint of amusement in his eyes. "You're awfully confident, Counselor, but I'm not the type to waste time. unless the person is worth it. The air between them crackles, not just from the accident, but from the memory of that night. Avery feels her cheeks warm, but quickly regains her composure. She opens her purse, pulls out her business card, and hands it to him. If you really want to sue, here's my info. But fair warning, I'm a very good lawyer. Lucas takes the card, glancing at the text. Avery Morgan, defense attorney. He slips it into his pocket, then pulls his own card from his wallet and hands it to her. And if you want to offer a proper apology, here's my info. Though I doubt you'll call. Avery looks at the card, her heart pounding as she reads, Lucas Thorne, Chairman and CEO, Thorne Enterprises. She suddenly recalls the application she sent to Thorne Enterprises last week, hoping to represent them in a major lawsuit. She keeps her face neutral, but inside a storm rages. The man she spent the night with is now her potential boss? Interesting, she says, tucking the card into her purse. But if you think I'll call to apologize, you're mistaken. I don't apologize for insignificant collisions. Lucas's lips curve into a real smile, however faint. Insignificant? You hit my car and now challenge me. You're bolder than I thought, Counselor Morgan. And you're more arrogant than I imagined, Mr. Thorne, Avery shoots back, her tone teasing. But I have a proposal. We forget this happened and stick to never meeting again. Deal? Lucas gazes at her, his eyes deep, as if trying to see through her thoughts. He steps closer, his voice dropping to a near whisper. If you really want never again, don't call. But I'm not so sure I want that. His words make Avery falter. She opens her mouth to respond, but a honk from behind interrupts. Traffic on the avenue is starting to jam, and a few passers-by are curiously watching. Avery takes a deep breath and heads back to her car. I'll take that as goodbye, Mr. Thorne. Lucas doesn't reply, just watches her get in and drive off. He stands there, hands in pockets, eyes following the white Audi until it disappears. He touches her card in his pocket, the corner of his mouth lifting. We'll meet again, counselor, he murmurs. In her car, Avery grips the steering wheel, her heart still racing. She glances at Lucas's card on the passenger seat, the words Thorne Enterprises, a reminder that this encounter wasn't random. She wanted to forget him, but fate seems to have other plans. She shakes her head, muttering, No way I'm calling. But deep down, she knows she's lying to herself. The Thorne Enterprises headquarters towers over central Manhattan, a sleek monolith of glass and steel, a symbol of power and ambition. Inside the 50th floor boardroom, light streams through massive windows onto a long ebony table, where senior executives engage in tense discussions. At the center of attention is Avery Morgan, 28, a defense attorney recently hired to represent the company in a critical internal lawsuit. Across from her, at the head of the table, sits Lucas Thorne, the stoic CEO of Thorne Enterprises, who personally ensured her selection for this role. The lawsuit is complex. Richard Carver, a former CFO of Thorne Enterprises, is accused of embezzling millions from the company's investment funds. But Carver isn't going down quietly. He threatens to leak internal documents alleging that Thorne Enterprises hid shady transactions to manipulate stock prices. If this information leaks, the company's reputation will collapse, costing billions in damages. Avery's mission is to defend Thorne Enterprises in court while preventing Carver from dragging the company down with him. Avery, in a fitted navy suit, stands before the executives, her voice sharp and confident. She outlines her strategy: sue Carver for embezzlement and request a court order to seal his documents under commercial confidentiality. As she finishes, Lucas raises a hand, his piercing blue eyes locking onto hers. Your strategy, it's bold, he says, his voice low and measured, as if weighing each word. But do you think suing Carver first will provoke a stronger counterattack? He's not someone easily cornered. Avery smiles, unfazed. She's prepared for this challenge, especially from Lucas, who seems to test her constantly since their Fifth Avenue collision. Mr. Thorne, if we don't strike first, Carver will leak those documents to the press. I don't play defense when the enemy's holding a knife to our throat. A few executives chuckle, impressed by her confidence. But Lucas doesn't smile. He leans forward, his gaze fixed on her. And if you're wrong, Counselor Morgan, are you ready to take responsibility when the company's stock plummets? The room grows tense. Avery crosses her arms, responding with a hint of sarcasm. If I'm wrong, you can fire me. But I don't make a habit of losing cases, Mr. Thorne. Have you ever lost a bet? Her words make Lucas pause, though his expression remains icy. A flicker of amusement passes through his eyes, but he masks it with his usual composure. Proceed with your plan, he says, standing to end the meeting. But don't disappoint me. As the executives leave, Avery gathers her documents, her heart racing. She knows Lucas used his influence to bring her onto this case, but she's unsure why. Does he believe in her talent, or is he just continuing the verbal sparring that began at the plaza? Whatever the reason, she's determined to prove she's not his puppet. Over the following weeks, Avery dives into work like a hurricane. She logs 16-hour days, analyzing hundreds of documents, interviewing witnesses, and building an airtight case against Carver. But every meeting with Lucas is a battle. He challenges her every decision, from legal approaches to witness selections. Once, when she suggests calling a former employee as a witness, Lucas interrupts. That person's unreliable. You're risking the case on a weak piece. Avery stands tall, meeting his gaze. Weak piece? I don't play chess, Mr. Thorne. I play to win, and I know this witness will make Carver tremble. Lucas's lips twitch. You're too confident, Counselor, but if you lose, don't expect me to bail you out. No one needs your rescue, Avery retorts, her tone teasing. But if I win, I expect an apology for doubting me. He doesn't respond, just stares at her, his eyes hinting at something unspoken. In front of others, he maintains his distance, as if she's just another lawyer on his team. Behind his cold facade, Lucas acts quietly. One morning, Avery receives an email from a colleague noting that a side lawsuit from a rival law firm was dropped without explanation. She suspects Lucas's involvement, but when confronted, he shrugs. Don't thank me. I didn't do anything. Then there's a tabloid article accusing Avery of leveraging a relationship with Lucas to secure her role. It vanishes from websites within hours, and Avery overhears that Lucas threatened the editor with a lawsuit unless it was removed. She confronts him in his office, her eyes flashing with suspicion. Why did you do that? I don't need your protection. Lucas, standing by the window overlooking Manhattan, replies without turning, I'm not protecting you. I'm protecting the company's reputation. Avery scoffs, stepping closer. The company's reputation or mine? Mr. Thorne, if you want to help, just say it. Don't play mysterious. This time Lucas turns, his gaze locking onto hers. You want me to be direct? Fine. You're a valuable asset to this case, and I won't let anyone harm you. But don't get it twisted. I'm doing this for the company, not you. His words make Avery pause. She wants to believe it's just a CEO's cold reasoning, but his eyes, for a fleeting moment, hold something deeper. She turns away, vowing not to let her heart override her mind. She's here to work, not to fall for Lucas Thorne. Avery Morgan drives her white Audi along the winding roads to the small town of Beacon, 3 hours from New York. Maple trees blaze red on both sides, autumn sunlight dancing on the windshield. She hasn't been back in over a year, consumed by her legal work and the intense lawsuit at Thorne Enterprises. But today, a call from her Aunt Ellen made her drop everything. Her grandmother Margaret is gravely ill and wants to see her. Her grandmother's wooden house nestles by a small lake, its weathered shingle roof and porch brimming with geraniums. Stepping inside, Avery is greeted by the scent of freshly baked cookies and chamomile tea, stirring memories of childhood summers spent running through the garden, listening to her grandmother's stories of war and friendship. Margaret, now 78 and frail, sits in an armchair, her eyes lighting up at the sight of her granddaughter. My girl, Margaret smiles, her voice raspy but warm. You look stronger than ever. How's work? Avery sits beside her, taking her thin hand. It's fine, Grandma, but I'm more worried about you. Why didn't you tell me you were sick? Margaret waves dismissively, as if illness is trivial. I'm old, Avery, but I want you to see something before I rest for good. She points to an old wooden box on the table, carved with roses. Open it. Avery frowns, curious. She pulls the box closer, lifts the lid, and a faint scent of aged wood wafts out. Inside are yellowed letters tied with a red ribbon and a black and white photo of two men in military uniforms smiling brightly. She instantly recognizes the man on the left, her grandfather, Henry Morgan, in his youth. The man on the right is unfamiliar, but his angular face and sharp eyes feel strangely familiar. "Grandma, what is this?" Avery asks, her voice tinged with suspicion. Margaret smiles mysteriously. "Read the top letter. It'll explain everything." Avery carefully opens the letter, its handwritten script clear, but slightly shaky, as if written in a moment of emotion. It begins, August 15th, 1965. Dear Henry, you and I survived the darkest days, and now with the war behind us, I want to honor our promise. If my grandson, Lucas, and your granddaughter, Avery, are still single past 30, we'll let them marry. A playful vow, but who knows what fate holds? Your friend, Edward Thorne. Avery's heart stops. Lucas Thorne. His name rings in her mind like a bell, conjuring memories of the night at the plaza, the Fifth Avenue accident, and the tense meetings at Thorne Enterprises. She flips through the other letters, each detailing the friendship between Henry Morgan and Edward Thorne, two soldiers who fought together in World War II, vowing to unite their families in the next generation. A small note outlines the promise. If Avery and Lucas remain unmarried by 30, they'd be arranged to meet. "Grandma," Avery whispers, her voice trembling. "Is this real? Lucas Thorne is part of this promise?" Margaret nods, her eyes twinkling. "Your grandfather and I used to laugh about it. It was a joke, but he believed fate would bring you together. I don't know what Lucas is like now, but if you've met him, give him a chance." Avery sits in silence, still clutching the letter. She's stunned, not just by the promise from the past, but because Lucas, the man she's tried to keep at a distance, is tied to her by an invisible thread. She recalls his deep gaze, rare smiles, and quiet ways of protecting her. But does he know about this promise? And if so, why hasn't he said anything? The next evening, Avery returns to Manhattan, carrying the wooden box and a turbulent mind. She can't wait any longer. She needs to confront Lucas. She drives straight to Thorne Enterprises headquarters, despite it being nearly 9 p.m. The building is nearly empty, with only a light glowing from the 50th floor, Lucas's office. She steps into the elevator, heart pounding, the 1965 letter in her purse like a ticking time bomb. Pushing open the office door, she finds Lucas at his desk, sleeves rolled up, the computer screen casting light on his chiseled face. He looks up, startled to see her. "Avery?" he calls, his voice low but tinged with concern. "What's wrong? Are you okay?" Avery doesn't answer immediately. She steps forward, places the letter on his desk, and locks eyes with him. "Read it," she says, her voice firm but trembling slightly, "and tell me if you knew about it." Lucas frowns, picking up the letter. As he reads, his expression doesn't change, but his eyes darken, as if a secret has been exposed. He sets the letter down, stands, and steps closer to her. "I knew," he admits, his voice low and sincere. "Since the night at the plaza, I looked into your background and saw the name Morgan. I remembered my grandfather's stories about a war buddy, and I connected the dots." Avery feels heat rush to her face. "You knew back then? And you said nothing? Did you think this was a game, Lucas?" He shakes his head, his gaze unwavering. "Not a game. I didn't tell you because I didn't want a childish promise from our grandparents to bind you. I wanted you to choose me because you wanted to, not because of a 60-year-old piece of paper." His words make Avery pause. She wants to be angry, to accuse him of hiding the truth, but the sincerity in his voice shakes her. She turns away, staring out the window at Manhattan's twinkling lights, like stars. "You don't get it, Lucas. I don't want my life dictated by fate. I want to decide my own path." Lucas steps behind her, not touching her, but his voice is closer, warm and resolute. "I don't want to be dictated by fate either. But that night, the accident, every moment we've shared, it wasn't fate. It's because I can't stop thinking about you, Avery." She turns, her eyes meeting his. In that moment, she sees a different Lucas. Not the cold CEO, but a man willing to bare his heart. She's moved, but her reason holds her back. "I need time," she says softly. "I need to understand my feelings. And if I can trust you." Lucas nods, his eyes betraying a hint of disappointment, but respecting her space. "I'll wait. But I want you to know one thing. I don't need my grandfather's promise to want you by my side." Avery picks up the letter and leaves the office, her heart more conflicted than ever. She knows she stands at a crossroads, between freedom and feelings, reason and heart. And though she tries to deny it, Lucas's sincere gaze has etched itself into her mind. La Dolce Vita, a restaurant tucked away on a quiet street in Greenwich Village, New York, glows with warm golden light spilling from its windows, mingling with the aroma of freshly baked bread and tomato sauce. White silk tablecloths adorned with candles and roses create a romantic ambiance any couple would dream of. But tonight, Avery Morgan isn't here for a date. She sits across from Ethan Caldwell, an old law school friend, now a renowned Manhattan prosecutor. This is just a dinner to catch up, or so Avery tells herself. In a simple yet elegant black silk dress, Avery laughs more than usual, trying to push Lucas Thorne from her mind. Since their confrontation about the betrothal promise in his office, she's kept her distance, bearing herself in work to avoid being swept up in emotions. The promise from their grandparents, a playful jest from 60 years ago, has left her conflicted. She doesn't want her feelings dictated by fate, but every thought of Lucas makes her heart race. Ethan, with his friendly smile and witty stories, is a temporary escape. "I can't believe it," Ethan says, raising his wine glass. "The girl who argued with our law professor until she was red in the face is now New York's hottest lawyer. You're making me jealous, Avery." Avery laughs, shrugging. "Hottest? I'm just trying not to drown in paperwork. What about you, Prosecutor Caldwell? I hear you just won a big case?" Ethan tilts his head, his eyes gleaming with interest. "I did, but I don't brag like you. Come on, tell me. What's it like working for Thorne Enterprises? Is Lucas Thorne as intimidating as they say?" The question catches Avery off guard. She sips her wine, hiding her unease. "He's complex, but I'm not there to be his friend. I'm there to win the case." Ethan chuckles, but his eyes seem to sense something. "Complex, huh? Sounds like you've got a story to tell." Avery opens her mouth to respond, but a figure at the restaurant's entrance makes her freeze. Lucas Thorne, in a fitted black suit, strides in, his eyes dark as a storm cloud. He doesn't glance around or greet anyone, heading straight for Avery's table as if she's the only person in the room. The restaurant's patrons murmur, sensing the tension radiating from the powerful man. Avery grips her wine glass, her heart pounding. Lucas stops at their table, his gaze locked on her, his voice icy but laced with meaning. "Counselor Morgan, seems you're free enough to have time for a date, huh?" The restaurant falls silent. Ethan frowns but remains polite, standing and extending a hand. "I'm Ethan Caldwell, Avery's friend. You are?" Lucas doesn't even glance at Ethan, his eyes fixed on Avery. "I don't care who you are," he cuts in, his voice low like thunder. "But tonight, she's leaving with me." Avery flushes, a mix of embarrassment and anger. She stands abruptly, her voice sharp. "Lucas, you can't just show up and give orders like that. I'm having dinner with a friend. There's no law against it." Ethan places a hand on Avery's shoulder, trying to calm her. "I think Avery's grown enough to make her own choices, buddy." Big mistake. Lucas slams his hand on the table, the sound startling nearby diners. "She's my fiancée," he growls, his gaze freezing everything around him. "And I don't share." The restaurant goes dead quiet. Avery feels heat rush to her face. Fiancé? He dares say that in front of everyone, after she told him she needed time? She grabs Lucas's arm, pulling him outside, ignoring the curious stares. "We need to talk, now." Outside, the cool Manhattan night air brushes against them, the distant Manhattan Bridge lights twinkling. Avery crosses her arms, her eyes blazing. "What's wrong with you, Lucas? Fiancé? You think you can claim me like that just because of our grandparents' promise?" Lucas stands still, his eyes still dark. but his voice softens, almost pained. You think I want this? You think I want to lose control just because I saw you smiling at another man? Avery freezes. She's never seen Lucas like this. Not the cold CEO, but a man torn by emotion. She opens her mouth to respond, but he's already moving to his car, opening the door and gesturing for her to get in. Get in! We're not talking here. She hesitates, but the resolve in his eyes makes her nod. They drive in silence, the air heavy like the calm before a storm. Lucas stops the car on the Manhattan Bridge, where city lights reflect off the Hudson River, creating a scene both romantic and lonely. He turns off the engine, facing her, his eyes deep. Avery, he says, his voice hoarse. You want me to stay quiet? Let you go out with another man? Sorry, I can't. I can't stand seeing you smile at anyone but me. Avery takes a deep breath, trying to stay calm. You can't force someone to stay just because you're afraid of losing them, Lucas. I told you, I need time. Lucas grips the steering wheel, his gaze burning. Time. I've given you time, but every day I think of you. About that night, the accident, the way you make me feel alive. I'm scared, Avery. Scared that if you leave, I'll go back to being the cold man I was before, and I don't want that. His confession makes Avery's heart pound. She looks at him, seeing sincerity in every line of his face. She wants to keep her distance, protect her reason, but her emotions win. Lucas leans in, cupping her cheek and kisses her. The kiss isn't gentle, it's fierce, passionate, pouring out all the jealousy, fear, and feelings he's held back. Avery doesn't resist. She kisses him back, her arms wrapping around his neck, pulling him closer. For the first time, she acts on her feelings, admitting through her actions that she loves him too. The kiss lingers as if they're trying to meld into each other, forgetting all barriers. When they part, their breaths mingling, Avery whispers, You drive me crazy, Lucas. But I don't think I want to leave you either. Lucas smiles, a rare smile that leaves her breathless. Then don't leave, he says, his voice rough. Stay, and we'll figure this out together. Avery nods, her heart lighter than ever. She knows the road ahead won't be easy, but in this moment, on the Manhattan Bridge, she's chosen him. Not because of the betrothal promise, but because of her heart. Manhattan in autumn, cool breezes sweep through streets aglow with lights. But in Avery Morgan's heart, a storm brews. Since that moment on the Manhattan Bridge, when she and Lucas confessed their love, she thought all barriers had dissolved. She was wrong. The Thorne family, with their power and ambition, is erecting invisible walls between her and Lucas. Avery sits in her small office at Thorne Enterprises, the computer screens light illuminating her tired face. The lawsuit against Richard Carver, the company's former CFO, nears its climax. She's worked tirelessly, building a watertight case, with the trial just weeks away. But the pressure isn't just from work. Elizabeth Thorne, Lucas's mother, has requested a meeting, and Avery knows it won't be friendly. The meeting takes place at an upscale tea room on the Upper East Side, where silk-covered tables and soft piano music create an air of refinement. Elizabeth, a renowned former attorney, appears in a gray silk dress, silver hair elegantly pinned, her sharp eyes like knives. She sits across from Avery, sipping Earl Grey before speaking, her voice polished but cutting. Ms. Morgan, Elizabeth begins, I've followed your work. You're a talented lawyer, undeniably. But I'm not here to praise you. I'm here to discuss Lucas. Avery tightens her grip under the table, maintaining her composure. I'm listening, Mrs. Thorne. Elizabeth tilts her head, her gaze unwavering. Lucas is a CEO, but more than that, he's the one to take Thorne Enterprises global. To do so, he needs absolute focus. You, with your own career and strong personality, are distracting him. You're holding him back with fleeting emotions. Elizabeth's words stab like a blade. Avery wants to retort, but presses her lips together, her voice firm. I don't force Lucas to do anything. He chose me, and I chose him. Elizabeth smiles, but it's icy. Chose? Love is a luxury, Ms. Morgan. If you truly care for Lucas, you'll see he needs someone to help him conquer the world, not someone who derails him. Avery leaves the meeting with a heavy heart, but the challenges don't end. Days later, at a charity gala hosted by Thorne Enterprises at the Waldorf Astoria, she faces Sophia Thorne, Lucas's 25-year-old sister. Sophia, in a shimmering, sequined gown, approaches Avery with a haughty smile, her eyes glinting with disdain. "Counselor Morgan," Sophia says, her voice sweet but laced with venom. "I hear you're quite close with my brother. Or closer than necessary?" Avery stands tall, refusing to appear weak. "If you have something to say it, Ms. Thorne." Sophia smirks, eyeing Avery up and down. "Fine. I think you're a gold digger. You come from nothing, work at some tiny law firm, and now you're clinging to my brother to climb into high society. You think you're worthy of him? You're just an opportunist." The crowd murmurs, curious eyes turning their way. Avery feels heat rise to her face, but keeps her voice steady. "You know nothing about me, Sophia, and if Lucas trusts me, your opinion doesn't matter." Sophia steps closer, whispering, "You're not worthy of him. Leave before I make you regret it." Avery is deeply hurt but refuses to crumble. She believes in her love for Lucas, in the moments they've shared. She throws herself back into work, pouring her energy into the lawsuit, and her bond with Lucas grows deeper. Late nights in the empty office, Lucas often appears with coffee or a teasing remark, and they steal kisses amid piles of documents. But Elizabeth and Sophia's words haunt her, like cuts that keep bleeding. A week later, Elizabeth visits Avery at her office. She sits, her eyes cold but her tone softer, as if persuading a child. "Ms. Morgan, I don't want to make this hard for you, but you must understand. Lucas deserves an heiress, someone who can elevate Thorne Enterprises to new heights. If you truly love him, you'll think of his future, not hold him back with fleeting feelings." Elizabeth's words strike Avery's deepest fear. She loves Lucas, but she doesn't want to be a burden, doesn't want him torn between her and his ambitions. In the nights that follow, she lies awake, Lucas's rare smile and deep gaze mingling with Elizabeth's warnings. She wonders, is she truly the best for him? Or is she just an obstacle on his path to glory? After sleepless nights, Avery makes a heartbreaking decision. She'll stay until she wins the lawsuit, not just to protect Thorne Enterprises' reputation, but to prove her worth. Then she'll leave, freeing Lucas to pursue his dreams. The choice tears at her heart, but she believes it's right. A month later, the federal courtroom in Manhattan is packed. Avery stands before the judge, her voice sharp and confident, delivering her final arguments against Richard Carver. She presents irrefutable evidence of his embezzlement and requests the court seal his documents to protect Thorne Enterprises. When the judge declares victory for the company, the courtroom erupts in applause, and Avery feels a surge of adrenaline. Lucas, seated in the front row, stands, his eyes shining with pride. As the crowd disperses, he pulls her into a corner, hugging her tightly. "You did it, Avery," he whispers, his voice thick with emotion. "I never doubted you." Avery smiles, but her eyes brim with tears. She looks up, pulls him down, and kisses him, a deep, passionate kiss, as if to etch this moment into her heart. To her, it's a goodbye kiss. When they part, Lucas notices the tears on her cheeks. "Avery, what's wrong?" he asks, worried. She shakes her head, forcing a smile. "I'm just happy we won the case, really." But her heart aches. That night, she writes a letter by hand, each word tearing her apart. "Lucas, I'm sorry. I know Thorne Enterprises is everything to you, and you deserve heights I can't reach. I'm just a small-time lawyer, and I'm afraid of being the reason you lose what you're meant to have. Goodbye, Lucas. Please forget me. Avery." She sends the letter to his office, submits her resignation from Thorne Enterprises, and leaves Manhattan the next morning. When Lucas receives the letter, he's in his office, sunlight streaming through the window onto his face. He reads each line, his hands trembling, and the letter falls to the desk. For the first time in his life, he feels everything collapse. He cancels all meetings, shuts off his phone, and disappears from the company for 3 days. Thorne Enterprises descends into chaos, executives scrambling to find him. But Lucas doesn't care. All he knows is that the woman who brought his heart to life is gone, and the pain is deeper than any failure he's ever known. Lucas Thorne sits in his 50th floor office at Thorne Enterprises, sunlight streaming through the large window onto Avery's handwritten letter, now creased from being read repeatedly. "I'm sorry. I'm just a small-time lawyer. Goodbye, Lucas. Please forget me." The words cut into his heart like a knife. For the past 3 days, he's vanished from the company, canceling all schedules, leaving executives in a panic. But nothing matters more than Avery, the woman who brought his heart to life, now gone. On the 4th day, Lucas returns, but not as the cold CEO. He summons a trusted aide, ordering an investigation into the real reason Avery left. He refuses to believe she abandoned him just because she felt unworthy. Something is wrong, and he's determined to uncover it. It takes only 2 days for the truth to surface. The aide hands him recordings of conversations between Elizabeth Thorne, his mother, and Avery, along with a statement from an employee at the charity event about Sophia, his sister's behavior. Lucas listens to every word, Elizabeth calling Avery a hindrance to his career, Sophia publicly humiliating her as a gold digger. His fists clench, his eyes darkening. His family, the people he loves, drove the woman he loves away. Without hesitation, Lucas drives to the Thorne estate in the Upper East Side, where Elizabeth and Sophia are having breakfast. The dining room's atmosphere tenses as he storms in, his eyes icy. Elizabeth looks up, smiling politely. "Lucas, are you all right? The company's in chaos because you disappeared." "All right," Lucas growls, slamming a folder of evidence onto the table. "What did you and Sophia do to Avery? You think you have the right to meddle in my life?" Elizabeth pales but maintains her composure. "Son, I only want what's best for you. Avery's a fine girl, but she's not suitable. You need someone to help you take Thorne Enterprises to new heights, not a lawyer with an impulsive streak." Sophia, seated beside her, smirks. "Brother, she's a gold digger. I just spoke the truth. You should thank me for making her leave." Lucas slams his hand on the table, the sound startling them both. "Enough!" he roars, his eyes blazing. "Avery is the only woman who makes me feel truly alive. She doesn't need my money or status, but I need her. If you and Sophia can't accept that, I'll choose her, even if it means giving up this family." Elizabeth is stunned, for once at a loss for words. Sophia opens her mouth to argue, but Lucas's glare silences her. He turns away, his voice low but resolute. "Don't make me choose again, because I won't choose family." Lucas knows he must find Avery. He hires a private investigator, and within days learns she's in Beacon, the small town where her grandmother lives. Avery hasn't returned to law. Instead, she's volunteering at an orphanage, organizing classes and caring for children without families. Lucas smiles bitterly at the news. That's so Avery. Strong, resilient, always putting others first. But he knows she won't come back easily. She left thinking it was best for him, and words alone won't convince her. He needs a grand gesture, an undeniable declaration. Lucas contacts Claire, Avery's best friend, and shares his plan. Claire, initially skeptical, agrees to help after seeing his sincerity. "She'll kill me for this," Claire says, "but I know Avery loves you. Don't hurt her again, Lucas." Lucas organizes a major charity event in Beacon, aimed at raising funds for the orphanage where Avery works. He knows she won't refuse to attend an event tied to the children she cares for. The event is held at the town's largest hall, with hundreds of guests, from donors to reporters. Lucas invests millions to make it unforgettable, but his sole purpose is to bring Avery back to him. On the night of the event, Beacon's hall sparkles with lights. Silk-covered tables are adorned with white roses, and a string quartet plays soft symphonies. Avery stands in a corner, in a simple pale green dress, chatting with children from the orphanage. She's tried to start anew in Beacon, finding joy in helping others, but her heart aches whenever she thinks of Lucas. She tells herself leaving was the right choice, but the longing for him is a wound that won't heal. Claire appears, pulling her toward the stage. "Avery, you have to hear this speech. It's important for the orphanage." Avery frowns but follows unsuspecting. She stands in the crowd, unaware her life is about to change forever. When the stage lights flare, Lucas Thorne steps out, in a fitted black suit, his deep blue eyes scanning the room. The crowd applauds, but he raises a hand for silence. "Thank you all for coming," he begins, his voice resonating through the hall. Tonight, we're here to support Beacon's orphanage, but I have a more personal reason. I once thought success was everything. Money, power, prestige. I was wrong. I realized I only need one person to show me what it means to truly live. The room falls silent. Avery, in the crowd, feels her heart pound. She recognizes that voice, those eyes. Lucas continues, his voice hoarse with emotion. That woman spilled wine on my jacket, crashed into my car, and drove me crazy with a single smile. She left because she thought it was best for me, but she was wrong. I don't need fame or an empire without her. He pulls a small velvet box from his pocket, opening it to reveal a sparkling diamond ring. The crowd gasps, and Avery feels tears stream down her cheeks. Lucas looks out into the audience, his voice unwavering. Avery Morgan, if you're here, come up. I need you to hear this in person. The audience turns, searching. Claire gently nudges Avery, whispering, Go, you idiot. He loves you. Avery shakes her head, tears falling faster. But a child from the orphanage takes her hand, saying, Miss Avery, he's waiting for you. She takes a deep breath, wipes her tears, and steps forward. The crowd parts, forming a path. The spotlight sweeps to her, illuminating her. Each step feels heavy, but Lucas's eyes, full of hope and love, draw her forward. When she reaches the stage, the hall erupts in applause. Lucas steps down, kneeling on one knee before her, still holding the ring. Avery, he says, his voice rough. We had a fated night, an unexpected crash, and a journey I never want to end. I let you go once, and it was my biggest mistake. Marry me? Avery looks at him, her heart bursting. In his eyes, she sees not just love, but the sincerity of a man willing to give up everything for her. She smiles, tears still falling. You're always so good at driving me crazy, but I'll love you like that for the rest of my life. She extends her hand and Lucas slips the ring onto her finger. He stands, pulling her into his arms, and kisses her on the stage, under the lights and unending applause. Avery wraps her arms around him, whispering in his ear, Don't think you won that easily. I'll crash into your car again if you drive me nuts. Lucas laughs, a radiant smile lighting up the hall. Try it, Counselor Morgan, he replies. I'll always be there to catch you. In the summer, a wildflower field on the outskirts of Beacon, New York, glows under golden sunlight. A simple yet deeply meaningful wedding unfolds here, where Lucas Thorne and Avery Morgan become husband and wife. Far from Manhattan's extravagance, the setting features a white geranium arch, wooden tables draped in linen, and about 80 guests, family, close friends, and a few Thorne Enterprises colleagues. But what makes this day extraordinary is not just Lucas and Avery's love, but the connection of two generations, fulfilling a 60-year-old promise between Henry Morgan and Edward Thorne. Grandma Margaret, despite her frail health, sits in the front row, clutching the 1965 letter she once showed Avery. The letter captures Henry and Edward's playful vow. Two World War II comrades who joked that if their grandchildren were single past 30, they'd marry. Today, Margaret's eyes sparkle as she watches Avery, in a simple white silk wedding dress, walk toward Lucas, who waits under the floral arch, his eyes brimming with undisguised love. Henry and Edward must be smiling in heaven, Margaret whispers to Ellen, Avery's mother, beside her. Avery, holding a bouquet of wildflowers, her wavy brown hair cascading freely, steps along the grassy path to Lucas. She feels the weight of their family legacy, not just the betrothal promise, but the friendship and trust between her grandfather and Lucas's that bound them together. Lucas, in a light gray suit, takes her hand, his voice low with a teasing edge. Counselor Morgan, you're late. This marriage contract nearly got canceled. Avery raises an eyebrow, retorting, Mr. Thorne, I'm a lawyer. I always show up in time to win. Their vows echo across the field, both romantic and uniquely theirs. I promise to drive you crazy every day, Lucas says, but to love you until my last breath. Avery smiles, her eyes glistening. And I promise to challenge your every arrogant decision, but to always be your home. As they exchange rings, Avery places a soft kiss on Lucas's ring, whispering, for Henry and Edward, who knew we belonged together? The guests applaud, and Claire, Avery's best friend, shouts, I bet Avery sues Lucas for bad cooking on their honeymoon. Laughter ripples through, even from Elizabeth Thorne, Lucas's mother, who smiles. After their tense confrontation, Elizabeth apologized to Avery, admitting her mistake in interfering. Sophia, Lucas's sister, still carries a hint of arrogance, but attends, quietly taking photos as a gesture of reconciliation. The wedding isn't just a union of two people, it's the fulfillment of a generational promise, a legacy of friendship and love. The reception unfolds under a white canvas tent, lit by lanterns and accompanied by acoustic music. Lucas pulls Avery onto the dance floor, twirling her under the moonlight. "You know," he whispers, "my grandfather said fate would find us." He was right. Avery rests her head on his chest, replying, "And my grandfather said true love conquers all storms." He was right too. A year later, Avery founds Morgan and Partners, a law firm in Manhattan. Leveraging her reputation from the Richard Carver case, she attracts major clients but dedicates 25% of resources to pro bono work for the underserved, workers, abused women, orphaned children. A high-profile case sees her represent homeless individuals in Queens, winning and securing housing for them. The press dubs her the flame of justice. But Avery simply says, "I fight for what's right because my grandfather taught me to." Lucas supports her, investing in the firm but respecting her independence. He greets her with coffee and notes, "Love you today and always." Avery teases, "You're a CEO, but you write love letters like a schoolboy." Lucas grins, "Because you're worth more than any contract." 2 years later, they welcome Henry Edward, a boy with Lucas's blue eyes and Avery's smile. 5 years after, James Morgan is born, gentle like Avery, resolute like Lucas. Lucas becomes a devoted father, playing ball with Henry, reading to James. Once Henry sues James for stealing a toy, making Avery laugh. "Who'd he learn that from?" Lucas hugs her. "From the best lawyer I know." 40 years later, Lucas and Avery, in their 70s, sit on their beacon porch. Lucas has retired from Thorne Enterprises, with Henry at the helm. Avery has stepped back from Morgan and Partners, now run by James. The lake glimmers under the sunset, their grandchildren's laughter echoing from the garden. Lucas holds Avery's hand, saying, "My grandfather knew we belonged together." Avery leans into him, her diamond ring sparkling. "And my grandfather knew our love would last forever." They watch the sun set in silence, their love as steadfast as Henry and Edward's promise. Lucas kisses her hair. "Thank you, Avery." She smiles. "Thank you, Lucas, for being my fate."